It's Mr. Hart again. This is the second video that I promised you. This is an iReady walkthrough of analyzing development of events. This is a close read exercise. There are two stories in it. I'm only going to do one with you. It's just to show you how to do it. It's pretty easy reading, but the questions they ask you are hard. They require a lot of thinking and going back into the text, so I want to show you how that's done. Okay?
Taking Action, The Clean Air Act by Joanna Santos.
Okay. Imagine fog so thick and dark that you need a flashlight to walk to school. That's the kind of fog that the residents, which you can click on, of Donora, Pennsylvania woke up to one day blank October 1948. Morning fog was normal there, though fog isn't the right word. The town of 14,000 people were home to a few factories that pumped out pollution 7 days a week. The fog was actually smog, a mix of fog and air pollution. And you can also click here to get some more information if you want it.
How does the author introduce the event that happened in Donora, Pennsylvania in 1948?
So introducing means the beginning, okay? So focus on this first sentence. How do they introduce it? How dense it is, people walking in it, how long the fog hovered for. So imagine it's so thick and dark you need a flashlight to walk to school. So it is talking about walking, but it's a descriptor of how thick and dark it is. So it's actually going to be this first one. Everyone was used to morning smog causing coughing fits, then drifting away before noon. This time, however, the smog lingered blank 5 days. As the week continued, hundreds of people became quite sick, and many struggled to breathe. Even houseplants began to wilt. Nevertheless, the town continued on with life as usual. Wilting means drooping because they're dying. This is a picture of during that time, and this woman actually looks like what some of us look like right now with our masks for corona. By the time a rainstorm washed blinked the smog, thousands of people were ill and several had died. Before that terrible week, the whole country believed smog was no big deal. Most places had factories that dirtied the air. But after Donora, people realized that air pollution could be deadly, and they demanded clean air.
Which detail illustrates that the event in Donora was serious? Drag it to the chart.
So, serious means that something bad was happening. Washed away smog, people were ill and dying, or that it was no big deal. Which one's the most serious one? Cleaning up the air. The Great Smog of Donora was the worst air pollution disaster in the United States. Over the next 2 decades, lingering smog caused deaths in other cities too. In 1955, Congress responded by passing the Air Pollution Control Act. This law blanked money to research the causes and extent of air pollution in the United States. In turn, this research led to the passage of the Clean Air Act in 1963, one of the greatest advancements for protecting Americans' health to this day. The 1963 law set aside money to figure out the best ways to monitor and control air pollution. Then, in 1970, Congress passed a second Clean Air Act. The new law targeted substances in air pollution that harm human health and the environment. Many factories had to change their machinery, and car manufacturers had to adapt the engines they blanked to produce cleaner emissions, the engines they built. And emissions So it says the substances that are released into the air. Here's a picture. So it's saying before 1970, smog hovered over many large U.S. cities.
How does the author elaborate on the events that happened between 1955 and 1970?
So elaborate means give more information, give details. So the author provides facts about a blank and their effects. Disasters, machines, laws. So if you scroll back up, we see that in 1955, they were making an act, which is a law. They made another one in 1963, and then one in 70. So it talks about smog and machinery, but it's focusing on the laws that were created. Research led the government to blank that cause air pollution, to collect, to report, to identify. So the government is identifying substances that are in the air that's causing air pollution, and in response, many businesses were forced to what? What were they forced to do in this last part right here? They were forced to improve the way they operated, change the workers, clean up, make some improvements. Over the next 20 years, people definitely breathed easier. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, which is a U.S. government organization whose mission is to protect the health of people, the Clean Air Act prevented more than 200,000 early deaths, nearly 850,000 asthma attacks, and about 18 million respiratory illnesses in children. However, although people's health began to improve, air pollution was still making the environment sicker. Trees were dying, and some lakes contained no fish. Scientists discovered that chemical substances in polluted air were being carried to the ground inside raindrops and damaging nature. Blank toxins were called acid rain. Few which these. Scientific research also revealed that air pollution contained additional substances that were harmful to the human body. As a result of these findings, Congress passed amendments to the Clean Air Act, which means like improvements, in 1990 to restrict, which was to limit, nearly 200 harmful substances from being released into the air.
Which other detail explains why changes were made to the Clean Air Act in 1990?
Okay, so our detail is that polluted air was harming the environment. The event was that they changed it. So what's another detail? That new chemicals were being created, that lakes and places where air was polluted are creating toxins, or other substances in the air were affecting people's health. So you can go back and actually read this. But we know that new ones were not being created. We know that the lakes were polluted, but they weren't producing it. So we realized that other substances in the air that they didn't identify yet were causing people's health to be affected. Scientists continue to do research on air pollution's effects on our health and environment, and the Clean Air Act could be amended again to increase protections. Today, air pollution doesn't blank only from big smoky factories, like those in Denora, Pennsylvania. Instead, a little bit of pollution from many sources, including homes, cars, and businesses, adds up to make a big impact. And here's a nice graphic. See all the ways that there's pollution that are coming together and causing issues with our air quality. So the next wave of improvements has to come from all of us. Pay attention to the news and write or call your congressperson to say you care about air quality. Clean air is important to everyone. Add blank voice to the conversation, and you'll be helping to make our air cleaner and healthier for the future. Add your voice.
According to the author, How can people like you help to improve air quality?
Okay, so to help improve air quality, people like you can blank air pollution, discuss it with others. Seek information about it. And you can also blank with lawmakers who could create laws. You can also share your concerns. Yep. So these are not directly stated in here, but if you read back, it says you can pay attention to the news and write or call your congressperson. And it's important to have conversations. So that's why you can seek out information by watching the news, reading newspapers, things like that. And you can share concerns by writing or calling. So that is why these two are correct. Okay, so that is where we're going to stop. You have another story to do on your own. Follow the exact same method and system that I did for mine, and you should be able to pass it very easily. I hope this one helped as well. Please let me know if there's anything else you may need for iReady this week.